standard for discharge. And, you know, actually, if we look down at that list, this is a sort of, you know, a hypothetical example, if you like. But we can see it gives us a very good picture of exactly how all of the wastewater treatment plants are performing in a country. And we can see where we are on this ladder. We can see exactly, this isn't about one figure and saying that, you know, 99% or 50% is safely treated. We can use this now as a management tool to see in operational terms where we need to work. We've done a similar thing here for the industrial discharges to sewer. And, you know, we can work out, given this information, knowing our discharge standards, we can actually work out from these incredibly rich databases exactly some of the things that we need to do. If we find out in our country that, you know, industry is the main culprit and the main cause for us having problems with wastewater, we have this great utility database in order to do that. So I'm going to just wind up with my last slide now. In conclusion then, for us to do our job in global monitoring, we absolutely must rely on national monitoring systems, and the MDG Plus example is a great example of national built into a regional initiative which takes account of the priorities and needs here. We agree very much that the utility data is an excellent starting point for this, and it serves the people above for global monitoring, but also the operational people below. So we're building a tool which is helping the country in their operations, but at the same time giving monitoring results. So this idea of disaggregation of data will really enable us to understand where the capacity gaps are in countries and where we, the UN system and others, can come along and support you in the best way we can. So I think I'm going to stop there, and thank you for your attention. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Graham, for a very good presentation highlighting what you've been doing, but also the potential of what we could do further together. And I'd like to just stop at one point about the need to think about the resources that we allocate for implementing such an ambitious agenda. And there is a very good opportunity to build on what we have and on existing processes, so that we capitalize on resources and we leave the larger part of the resources for what they are dedicated to do for the people. I'd like now to invite comments, discussions, and if you can please introduce yourself and you may wish to make a comment or ask a question. Please, Fatal.
Thank you. My name is Olfa Mahjoub. I'm from Tunisia, and I'm a researcher working for the National Research Institute for Rural Engineering, Water and Forestry. First of all, I would like to congratulate the team for the huge work that has been done. And while looking through the book, I realized there is a lot of data there. But when looking through what has been done for Tunisia, where I think that something should be reviewed. For example, ONAS is not mentioned. There is a small confusion between ONAS and ONI, maybe with Morocco, just in the first page. And looking through the tables, where few things were confusing to me, actually. Where when we talk about the number of people served with household connection to sewage network in urban area, and we are talking about irrigation. We know that irrigation in Tunisia is practiced in a rural area. What is done in the urban area is rather landscaping or golf courses. So maybe some clarification is needed on this point. And the third thing is, I would like to advertise, well, just to say that in Tunisia now we are championing a project that is ongoing with UN-ESCWA in Canada, and it's funded by KECO, which is the Korean environment company, and in collaboration with Ministry of Environment in Korea. And this is called the evidence-based framework. It's about the SDG 6, and it's helping people in developing country, well, government in developing country to progress in achieving the SDGs. This evidence-based framework at the end will be called SDG Policy Support System. It would help the government to show how they are progressing, starting from a baseline, for example, 2016 till 2013, to show how they are progressing in achieving the different targets. Just to underline that this SDG PSS, what we are calling now, has seven components. For example, status about capacity building, about gender. This is very important, and this will be contextualized. And we are proud that Tunisia is representing the Arab countries in these 5 countries. I mean, Ghana, Costa Rica, Pakistan, and Tunisia will be champions. So it's a call to that those donors and those different institutions to support this initiative in Tunisia. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take a couple more questions, and then I give. Walid, did you? No. Okay, we have Sir here, Walid, and then I'll get back to the. Okay. Well.
Good morning. My name is Mohamed Al-Ahmedi. I'm the CEO of the Palestine Water Sector Regulatory Council. Just to let you know that we are continuing the work of PWA in data collection verification from service providers, water and wastewater, with complete coverage of Gaza now, and this year it is almost 60 largest water service providers and wastewater in the West Bank. Just a comment that working with different agencies, we are really facing difficulties in having unified definitions, as Dr. Graham said, between the IWA indicators, the OECD, the IPNet, SDGs. Is there any effort to look into the definitions and the calculation methodology of the different indicators? We'd like to do our work only once, not several times for different reports, but if definitions can be unified, not only definition of indicators, but even terms like aquifer recharge. What does it mean? Because some of the figures are really looks to be questionable. But again, if there is an effort to unify terms and calculation methods, as well as terms, that would help us a lot, so as we can do our work only once. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you're pointing to very challenging matters that the teams have spent a lot of time trying to standardize and harmonize, and they will be explaining later on how they arrived at these. We have a couple in the back, Walid and someone in the back, and then we have, yeah.
Thank you very much for this very intensive work, and I really appreciate the efforts that has been put in this in really doing this thing, which is very hard, and I know how hard it is, because we tried many times to get data from the sources, and it was we were not successful. I have 2 comments very, very quick. Number one is that the report is very nice, but doesn't have any executive summary that explains the findings. And I think there should be some analysis to be done. Short synopsis of what you have seen, what is the major trend, what happened in the past, and how we are. So I think this is what lacks, because everybody will be reading his, and I don't think there is a decision maker who's going to be just flipping through this and looking at numbers. He wants some messages to be sent. And I think this is very important. I know it is hard to do that, but it has to be done. The other thing is that I think you will need to revise some of these indicators. Some of them don't make any sense probably, or they make sense. I know there has been a lot of effort has been done, but for instance, when you are dealing with the tariff the dollars per cubic meter, you are mixing apples with oranges, from a flat charge to a block tariff charge, and why you have your, I mean, you cannot do that. You have to take a number that probably the needed amount of water per capita to survive or to live in a good well-being, and then you take that number and you divide, and then you get how much the dollar. This is accessibility, but not a flat, you know, a crude division of the amount. And I think I'm not saying that what I'm saying is correct, but I'm saying that this is my point of view, and it has to be rediscussed again, and maybe you can modify some of the indicators again, and try to mainstream them with the SDGs in this line. Thank you.
A big agenda for the SDG process, I guess. Yes, sir. And then we have Maha. لأنه كنت رافعة إيدها قبل, and then we will get.
Yes, I am Taha Al-Washali from UNESCO Haiti. I am a PhD researcher in UNESCO Haiti. My comment is related to Ms. Carol's presentation. First, let me also congratulate the team for this big achievement of this report. And I have been just skimming the report, and the report is presenting the data country by country, which is very useful. And it is massive data and elaborated data. But in the presentation of Ms. Carol, we have seen the figures of all the countries in one figure. For example, let's say the portion per capita per each country, and it was very useful to see the picture of the whole region in one graph. But unfortunately, such graphs are not included in the report itself. So I would suggest, if there is still a time, or let's say a bulletin or something that can also be published, or for making graphs for all the countries per aspects that can be referring to as well. This is one suggestion. Another suggestion is if we also can, if there is some conclusions by each country that defines the gaps and the enablers for each country, where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, that can we skim the countries, the lessons learned from each country. Let's say if there is a country profile, a summary of country profile before the data of each country. This is just two suggestions. I hope there is still time for this. But I also would like to again congratulate the team for this big achievement. Thank you.
Thank you. Maha? هلا I'll come back to you.
صباح الخير. سؤالي بخصوص الاس دي جيز. الحين الاس دي جي المفهوم واضح، لكن الميثودولوجي هي اللي غير واضحه. هل مطلوب منا ان احنا نقدم ريبورت مشترك عن طريق الدول العربيه كامل مثل ما سوينا في الريبورت هذا اللي هو الام دي جيز، او كل دوله راح تقدم بياناتها مباشره كناشونال ريبورت لليو ان مثلا يونسكو او اي جهه؟ فأنا هذا سؤالي. شكرا.
علي تفضل. And then I'll come back. بس خلينا.
شكرا رونا. أول شيء احنا بنهني أنفسنا وبنهني الجميع على التقرير اللي لأول مرة تم إعداده بشكل تشاركي ما بين جميع الجهات. احنا في الأردن الصحيح استفدنا كثير من اللجنة اللي شكلت لإعداد التقرير الوطني، وبنينا عليها وعملنا لجنة الآن أكبر على مستوى أعلى، لجنة وطنية مش فوكال بوينتس، الآن من وزارة التخطيط، من وزارة المياه، ومن جميع الجهات المعنية، على أساس أنه تكون المعلومة من المصدر. الآن التقرير بتوقع ما ظل عليه أي تعديل الآن، لأنه احنا الآن رايحين على الاس دي جيز. يجب أن نبني على ما تم إعداده في هذا التقرير. أما بالنسبة للطريقة اللي يجب اتباعها، احنا كأردن تم اختيارنا كدولة بايلوت في المونيتورينج، فلهذا بلشنا بتحضير التقرير الوطني ووضعنا واخذنا الطرق اللي تم اعدادها من قبل جيمي. الان الطرق ما في كل دوله تعد طريقه او ابروتش للكالكوليشن وللمراقبه، في الان ميثودولوجي واضحه تم إرسالها من جيمي. الآن كل دولة يجب عليها أنها تعمل أدابتيشن لوضعها، في ممكن أنها تضيف بعض الانديكيترز أو بعض الانديكيترز أنها تعفي نفسها منها. فلهذا الآن بدنا لازم يوضع بيز لاين لكل، وهاي الام دي جي بلس هي بيز لاين الحقيقة، وإذا في ميسنج داتا إنه ينعمل لها الآن استيميشن، وفي المستقبل يتم وضع آلية لحسابها. وبعد ما يتم الست دول اللي تم اختيارها كمونيتورينج وإعداد تقاريرهم وبعثها للأمم المتحدة، راح تتعمم على جميع الدول على أساس تشوف إنه في جابس ولا ما في جابس. وإحنا مستعدين كأردن إنه ننقل خبرتنا من خلالكم لجميع الدول العربية. شكرا.
شكرا علي، تفضل.
شكرا. I'm Mohamed Arsalan, former member of parliament, also chairman of one of the chambers of industry in Jordan. Now I'm representing Miaona. Graham, I'm so glad that you have mentioned that the data collection in Jordan and the progress have been made will push us up to the global monitoring process. But yet I don't know if I have found the right platform here to call on a missing link here in Jordan. Now, we have an industrial waste which is not treated at all. Now, probably one of the most important projects in Jordan is needed today is probably a special plant for toxic wastewater coming out of industry. It is very important. There are studies have been done. Everything is ready, but it's looking for financial support and the governmental and the NGO support. Thank you so much indeed.
شكرا. آخر مداخلة في السيدة ورا إذا ممكن، وبعدين راح أعطي مجال للمتحدثين ليعقبوا على المداخلات.
Okay, thank you. I can put a question. Thank you very much. This is really fantastic work you have been doing, and I'm really looking forward to see this will go into the SDGs. I have some questions related to that. So the link with the SDGs. So, for instance, there is a demand that everything should be disaggregated, all the information according to sex, for instance. And I'm wondering, how do you think the systems and the information available now does the information exist? Or are the systems actually geared so you can collect that kind of data? And the other question is more related to another SDG, but which is relevant for this one on health. And you were saying it's important with information that can drive policies. And I think no politician or decision maker would like to be known as a person who is making children or pregnant women or elderly sick in particular. So I'm wondering if the health indicators, for instance, related to waterborne diseases can be used for further, I don't know, but in the future of your work. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm not going to take any more interventions. We can follow it up during the break. I will give the panelists 2 minutes, but please keep to the 2 minutes to pick any of the comments you wish to address. I will start with Khaldon because he needs to leave. So.
Sorry, because I have meeting. بدي احكي بالعربي انا دقيقتين. لم نخرج عن الام دي جي والانديكيترز، لا نستطيع. اضفنا مؤشرات اضافيه محدده اللي هي وجدت بالتقرير. موضوع التعرف الموضوع الحكومي الذي لا يمس، احنا وضعناها كما هي في كل دوله، بلوكيج بتفاصيلها. ويعني تعرف على المستوى الداخلي اصلا لا يستطيعوا انه يتحدثوا فيها، فلا نستطيع ان نسوي اي تفصيلات تمس بعتبره قضيه سياديه. قضيه في سمري على فكره، كتيب سمري موجود ممكن لازم نوصل لك اياه. في الأخ حميدي معك تقرير عن السمري، هذا واحد. لم يكن لم تكن من مهمتنا إصدار تحاليل، لأنه مش كونسلتنسي. هذا وجدنا الواقع العربي بمؤشرات جديدة، وهذا كان اللي هو السكوب اوف وورك تبع المشروع. شكرا.
شكرا. تفضل. Graham.
Thank you very much. I'd like to pick up on the, just quickly on the question on methodologies and then on the health SDGs. The methodologies basically are, they're the best we've done. We've tried to design the methodologies for a range of options for different countries. So if you don't have the data, it will give you an idea about how to estimate using, so you can, for example, you can estimate wastewater production if you know freshwater supply, and you can work out. So the idea is that the methodologies should be flexible to have these modelling type parts to them that will assist you in the absence. But as Engineer Ali says, there has to be some level of conformity across the countries, otherwise we can't compare one country with another, which is basically what global monitoring is all about. But we are mindfully aware that there's some adjustments to be done to some of the methodologies. There's still some disagreements on how they're actually defined, and we're working on that very closely. I mean, the water efficiency one is a good example. There's a difficulty with the definitions there, which we have to resolve. So we haven't got all the answers, but we are working on it to try and improve. The second thing I wanted to mention just quickly was about the toxic and hazardous wastewater. We pushed very hard to ensure that along within the overall wastewater picture that special consideration was given to industrial toxic and hazardous waste, because it also forms the part of some of the other development goals, but it's also, particularly in rapidly developing economies and industrializing economies, it's something that frequently is forgotten. And everyone worries about wastewater from toilets, and they forget that actually some of the most dangerous and hazardous wastes come from other sources. So we want to look at that. I'd be very happy to talk more about that with you personally, sir. The third issue relating to the SDGs. Yes, we're very mindful. I mean, some of the more global instruments that are being used, the DHS and mixed surveys, do actually disaggregate the information by, by sex, by gender, by all these things. So we have to use some of those tools to give us particularly for things like basic sanitation and water, we do have that ability to disaggregate the data. There is a plan that once we've got the baseline data for all of the SDGs, that where there are particular linkages across the SDGs, we will look at taking up specific thematic reports, and of course water, sanitation and health is one of the areas that both WHO and ourselves at Habitat are interested in. So there will be an attempt to look at the policy implications and linking the results of once we've got the baselines. But
Oops. Thank you, Graham. Deeb?
Actually, I believe that this is not the end of the story. This is the beginning. The report, I mean, each country should start working on this report according to its circumstances and try to upgrade, try to maybe, as some mentioned, to add some indicators, to delete some indicators, and it's now their responsibility, I mean, the Arabian countries, to build up on this report and to make it readable, whether by adding more figures to make the issue easy for the decision makers. This is an important issue, and we need to look at for future perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Deeb.